On to question number 2 this week. Question number 2 this week comes from Michelle Woods. And Michelle says, "Hey, Brian, I can't wait for your podcast to come back. I love your channel and show and only listen to you and Jedi Council. Keep up the great work." Thank you very much for that. I do appreciate that. I was watching Interstellar the other day, and it got me thinking, is there anything in the new canon that describes how lightspeed physics work in the Star Wars universe? Thanks for the question, Michelle. There's a couple of little references that kind of deal with the subject, but nothing that just comes right out and explains how it works. Let's say, for argument's sake, because we don't know what the laws of physics are in the Star Wars galaxy. You're talking about a galaxy that has, faster than light travel, lightsabers, blasters, right? The Force. So let's assume, just for now, that the laws of physics are the same in the Star Wars galaxy as they are for our universe, for reality, right? And for some of you, Star Wars might be our reality. I'm not knocking you. But anyway, so in Star Wars, hyperspace is also called faster than light travel. So to travel faster than light would mean that time for you is working differently than what it is outside of the hyperspace tunnel. I could be wrong on this, but my assumption has always been that when you activate your hyperdrive, right, and we see the ships shoot off into space, my assumption has always been, and I could be wrong, you guys let me know what you think, that when the ship disappears from where you're at, it instantly reappears where it's coming out of hyperspace. But for the people on the ship, they're traveling for hour and a half, 2 hours, right? That was always my assumption. I think there was even a theory that was going around a while back about that, explaining why Leia, even though she was like a minute younger than Luke, looked older than Luke in A New Hope. And it was because she was on all these ships going through hyperspace her whole life, and she was gaining more time on Luke, who was just stuck on Tatooine. It kind of makes a little bit of sense. But if you look at the physics in our universe, right? Me and Kirsty are nerds, if you hadn't figured it out. So when we fall asleep at night, we always put on documentaries on YouTube or, something about faster than light travel or the beginning of the universe or time travel or something weird, right? Just to fall asleep to. And we watch a lot of documentaries on faster than light travel and physics and quantum physics and stuff like that. So when you travel faster than the speed of light in our set of physics laws, time slows down for everybody else. For you, it's going normally, right? It slows down for you. Let me think for a second. I think it slows down for you, but it goes faster outside. So I would assume that when you shoot through hyperspace, you're just popping back in where you were. Faster than light's impossible. It's physically impossible to travel faster than the speed of light. It's not even possible to travel the speed of light because it would take an infinite amount of fuel that wouldn't be able to fit into the known universe to propel you to the speed of, faster than light. Whatever. There was a reference to something along those lines in Bloodline. And we know Bloodline is, 25 years after Return of the Jedi. So we're going to say close to 30 years after A New Hope, after the destruction of Alderaan. Close to 30 years, give or take. There's a point in that book where Leia is on another planet. I don't remember what planet it is. It might be Harloff Minor. I'm not positive. I think they're on Harloff Minor. And they look out into space. She's with somebody else. They look off into space, and there's a star, and she says, "Do you see that star?" And the person she's with says, "Yes." And she says, "That's Alderaan." And they're like, "Well, I thought Alderaan was destroyed." And she goes, "It was, but the light hasn't gotten here yet. It's still traveling. The light of the planet still being there is still traveling here. Eventually, you'll see the explosion in the night sky of the destruction of Alderaan. But the further away from Alderaan I get, the closer I feel to it because I can see it again." So it's one of those weird things where obviously the speed of light, the light physics are the same in their universe as it is in ours, right? In this fictional universe. So that's the only answer I have for you, is that's the only time it's ever really been touched on. It's the only time it's really been specifically talked about. Alphabet Squadron, the novel, does refer to hyperspace as a different reality. Kind of, not in so many words, but it's essentially a different reality. As you're entering into hyperspace, you're leaving the universe as you know it and entering into this other universe of hyperspace, and then you're popping out of it. I could be completely off base here. What do you guys think? What do you think the physics of the Star Wars galaxy and faster than light travel is? I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. That's a very thought-provoking question, and it's a great conversation to have because maybe I'm missing some evidence somewhere that backs it up one way or the other. Maybe you guys are seeing it. Let me know. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on that.